Hello everyone, Treecks here, and welcome to the final coverage of Novice in F-Zero X. Normally you would say we are already done with the coverage of Novice. However, this project actually includes all of the content of the F-Zero X expansion kit, as you can see on the menu over here. There are obviously more options than in the normal game, and therefore there's actually also more cups to play than in the normal game. With the exception of one Grand Prix, we've actually beaten Novice, and therefore it is time to do that final one. The second cup of new tracks that got added in the F-Zero X expansion kit is the DD-2 cup. Oh, and just to be safe, allow me to say the edit cup won't be covered in the regular project. There's actually also no crosses to earn here, so you don't have to. The edit cup is only here in order to test out your own created tracks. That is not something you officially have to beat, and therefore it is something I won't be covering in the regular project. We are going to move on to the DD-2 Cup, which will actually start off with the fourth mute city in this game, Slim Halfpipe. And halfpipes were already dangerous normally, and now they are going to be slim. Sounds promising. Let's go start playing with a new character. We did already pick a character from the third row already. However, there are of course also still people we need to pick from the second and first row, so I might just randomly pick someone, because in all honesty it doesn't really matter who I pick. It's only Novice after all, so let's go for the Queen Meteor. This is an E-body machine, and last time we picked an A-body machine, so perhaps being able to die quicker might make this more challenging. Mrs. Arrow is actually the wife of superhero Super Arrow. But she is in all honesty way more of a superhero than he will ever be. But Super Arrow is not unlocked yet, so we can't cover him yet. But if we actually take a look at the machine, which you can do by pushing the C buttons on the select screen, you can actually turn around the machine, take a look at it. But the machine of Mrs. and Super Arrow are actually very similar. The Queen Meteor is a little bit heavier, but besides that, pretty much the same as the King Meteor, which we will meet later. Perhaps here in this slim halfpipe, which make use of the awesome roller coaster music again. Let's go. Let's go see if this halfpipe is a lot more challenging than the one in Whitelands 2 was. Well, at least we have a couple of turns again where we can double tap through. And Jodie Summer proves that you should not be driving in the way if I start doing that. Okay, here's the slim halfpipe, so definitely be careful here. It's very easy to fall out there, so make sure you have a firm grip on your analog stick. If you're not able to keep control of your machine at this part in the game, this is the kind of track where you don't have to count on reaching the finish line ever again. Okay, now let's see if we can make it more challenging. The booster is now on. Let's see if I'm daring enough to actually use that booster through the slim halfpipe. If Beastman here actually allows me to stay alive. Oh, he fell out himself now. You got what you deserved. Oh yeah, and almost forgot about this track. This is actually also a death track, comparable to Firefield and Big Blue 3. This is also a track where the computer players will actually start falling out by the bushes the moment you go too fast. So perhaps Soda doesn't start rubber banding me. But perhaps if I actually go fast enough in this third lap, I can still actually try to achieve that effect. Almost forgot about it in this track, otherwise I also would have boosted a little bit better in the second lap. It's most of all the final jump actually. It's this part. This part is where the computer players will actually start flying overboard the moment they go too fast. But unfortunately I'm actually not far ahead of these people, so can't really show it off here. But I'll try to remember it for next time when we start covering Standard. Which is not going to take too long, of course, because we already did the first 3 cups on Standard, so seeing this one in Standard is not going to take too long. But I'll try to remember to actually go fast in the second lap and try to create the death track effect here as well. Let's go to the second track at least. Space Plant number 2 is Straight Jumps. Allow me to actually talk about how to change color of a machine. I did leave a note to myself to actually cover that as well, but that I also almost forgot. But you can actually press the Z and R buttons in the settings screen in order to change the color of your machine. There's actually 4 pre-programmed colors for all of the machines in this game. Does not really do anything. However, I did notice I still needed to cover that aspect as well. Might as well do it now. Let's drive around with the green Queen Meteor this time around. But only for once, because in all honesty I'm not really that big of a fan of changing the color of the machines in this game. Oh, that was a good one. However, this outside banking turn is actually one of my favorite parts in this game to knock some people off the track. So here I actually also always do that. This is also a track where the computer players actually have a lot of difficulty staying on the track. This is the kind of track where they also fall off by themselves a lot, so... Ooh, that one was awesome! Knocked him into the wall and then he fell off. Saw his burning machine falling down. Awesome. Let's see if we can get this final 2. No. But at least the final lap I can actually use in order to talk about why I think design-wise this track is really awesome. You can see the jumps in this track are really awesomely designed. Especially this part, zigzag, vertical zigzag jumps. Try not to get motion sick at that part. Okay, there's a couple of dash plates, placed in an interesting way. And the jump plate, and then an awesome turn into a banking turn. Yeah, if it isn't obvious, I really love this track. The way this track is designed in a technical sense, I can definitely appreciate it. This one is definitely for the experts in this game. If you know how the tricks in this game work, you can definitely have a party on a track like this. There's not a whole lot of pit area, but in a track like this you actually don't really need that. Awesome track, Space Plant 2. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to the next one. After one of my favorite new tracks in this game, we're moving on to probably my least favorite one in the whole set. We have Port Town 4, Trap Road. It is an interesting concept, and I can definitely also appreciate the fact that this is also a death track. Yeah, the tracks here in DD-1 and especially the DD-2 cups are so difficult. Pretty much all of them are death tracks if you go too fast. But this is actually also an example of a track where computer players can also start falling off without you going too fast. But if they start rubber banding you, then they will definitely fall off here. Apparently I'm not able to kill people today. And it went so nicely in Space Plan 2, but it seems I've lost my touch. If I play my cards right, I actually don't have to kill the people here. If I go ahead of the people here, they should start falling off themselves. A couple of people already start falling, so you can imagine in this minefield. No, oops. Stay away from the camera angles. Like I was trying to say, you can imagine in a minefield like this, if the computer players start going even faster, and then they will start falling off in even higher numbers. Like the first lap already proved. Minefields, especially the ones in the turns, those are already pretty deadly normally, even for myself. Like I'm proving over here. So let's do this very carefully. Because of course I'd like to stay alive. Yeah, there's a reason why these people start falling off. Even for me this is very difficult. This is just in all honesty one of the more difficult tracks in this game. But it also actually prevented me from getting loose of these people, so they are not really rubber banding me right now, therefore they actually stay at normal speeds. And then most of them can actually still cope with this minefield. Oh. No! It seems the computer players are indeed not the only ones having trouble with this track. Perhaps this new color is actually giving me bad luck, so... Yeah, and the fact that I'm driving around with an E-body machine also does not help, of course. The Queen Meteor, even though a little bit heavier than King Meteor, that one's even lighter. But the Queen Meteor still has an E-body. Oh. Somebody started flying. Oh, computer players are so fun to play around with this in this game. That's the beauty of this game. It's not just really fun to go crazy fast in a high-speed racer like this, but the computer players that actually need to quote-unquote challenge you in this racer, these guys are way too fun to play around with. Sometimes even makes me forget that I'm still racing here. Way too fun to actually play around with the computer players. However, unlike the previous attempts, this time I will try to actually get really far ahead of them. Even beyond the point where the announcer will actually say, "You're really far in front." Whenever reaching that point, then the computer players will start rubber banding you, going crazy fast in order to keep up with you, and this minefield actually becomes a death trap for them. Let's make sure we go across this track with full energy. And hopefully stay far ahead of these people. So one by one they will actually kill themselves in the minefield. Let's prove why this track is called Trap Road. 16 people already gone. However, there's still one more lap to go. 13. And getting past here myself full speed without getting hit is also really challenging. But this time around I did survive. So let's brake before the finish line and see what the damage becomes. 9 people will finish, it seems. And therefore we end the next chapter of Death Tracks in F-Zero X. Awesome. Let's take a look at our damage. Oh, it seems 2 more people actually fell off outside of the race. The moment we finished the game set, there were 9 people left. And it seems only 7 finished. Putting this track on par with the first fire field. Here, even the autopilot almost fell off. Okay, and now for the reason why I called it the first fire field. When talking about fire field just now. Because there's indeed the second one here in the expansion kit. And the most awesome thing about this one is that we actually start upside down. The ground is above us. And the reason why we start upside down is because this track is 180 turnover. Making use of a couple of 180 degrees turnovers. Yeah, that's the whole reason why it's called that, so. Not a surprise to find that. Especially this part I really like. When you go up, and then start diving down, back towards the ground. It does not look very intimidating in the first lap, but whenever boosting there, you can actually get loose of the track there, making a vertical dive out of that part, and that's the reason why it's so awesome. But perhaps we'll see that in the second lap. It's in all honesty not really easy to perform, but I can of course try. So, let's go. Always make sure to prevent some boosting, because you're going to need that at that part, the moment you start climbing. If you want to have a chance in order to initiate the dive there. Let's approach with the dash plate and boost in the turn. Okay, not enough. But we'll get more chances. Getting up to high speeds on the cylinder is usually also a way to try to get computer players to fall off whenever rubber banding. However, that part is usually a lot less successful, so I still don't consider this track a death track, because it's pretty hard to get computer players to fall off the cylinder there. Even though it should be possible, but they usually don't do it. But whenever trying to create a death track out of Fire Field 2, this is usually what you want to do. Go crazy fast on the cylinder, with rubber banding of the computer players will start trying to match that. And then at the final part of the cylinder, where it actually becomes narrower a little bit, there, if the computer players aren't on the top of the cylinder, they will actually start falling off. But usually they are smart enough to actually stay on top of the cylinder, and therefore it becomes a regular jump, just like I made in all 3 of the laps. And then it usually does not happen. But anyway, that was Fire Field 2, 180 turnover. So we have 2 more tracks to actually cover. And the next one coming up is actually my favorite track in the entire game, Whiteland 3, Great Star. We've seen a couple of great tracks in order to go crazy fast. And combining that with a couple of very neat challenges. But Great Star, I think, is by far the most awesome track in the game, including the ones in the expansion kit. This is the ultimate track that actually invites in going crazy fast. Designed after a star, obviously. But the things you need to do in the straightaways here is really freaking awesome. Allow me to actually show you off. It's probably going to take me multiple tries because this is also the most difficult track in the game, so... We have another half pipe here, and this one being one giant turn, so going crazy fast with double taps here. It's really awesome to do. Then straight away after it also has a couple of dash plates. Able to actually keep up with your speed. Jump. Yeah, this track is awesome. No other way to put it. This track is awesome. Let's do that 2 more times. And preferably without going off the track. Took my turn towards the dash plate a little bit too sharply. Now, keeping your balance here is definitely not easy. Sometimes I make it look like this game is easy, but in all honesty it is not. For everybody who has played this game, I think you can all agree on the fact that this game is definitely not easy to control. Especially when approaching speeds like these. Oh, why are half pipes so fun in this game? It is because of the double tap. The double tap, the most awesome move in the game. Okay, let's try this again. Lap number 2. I can actually approach this dash plate better this time. Okay, this time around I missed it completely. But at least I stayed on the track. Stayed inside of this half pipe and double tap, double tap. Let's also not go too fast. Because in all honesty I am holding back a little bit. I can go even faster if I want, but I also don't want to die again, so... Allow me to actually stay away from the 2000 kilometers per hour for now. Because if you do it correctly with double tapping in the half pipe, that is actually a speed you can reach over 2000 kilometers per hour. If you're never doing that, there's actually no way to stay alive and turn after it, so... Let's keep it at 1600, that sounds like a safe speed. And let's try hitting the jump plate this time around. Because of its angle, you can actually jump really awesomely there. The track is angled a little bit there, so your jump also becomes a little bit weird. Still awesome to perform. But okay, there we go. Took me 2 tries. But here we still are. That was Whiteland 3, Great Star. Most awesome track in the game. But not the final track in the game. After all the coverage of the Novice difficulty, there's only one more track in the game we still need to do. And that is the follow-up of the original finale, which was Big Hand in the Joker Cup. Now we have Big Foot, where the curves are even deadlier. Especially for the E-body. Big Hand, we were actually able to kill the difficulty by using the double taps in the turns. In this track, the turns are even worse. And this time around, the double tap is not here to save us. Even with the double tap, this track is still very difficult. And as you can see, not just the turns in the quote-unquote fingers, which are toes this time around. Even the part where we go over the lower area, where the ice part was in Big Hand. There's once again an ice part here. And even that one is a lot more difficult. The track is even narrower this time around. And unlike in Big Hand, where the ice part was still pretty much a straight part, this time around there's even a turn in it. Making it very difficult. Yeah, for a finale we do need to have something suiting. And the game definitely succeeded in that. Now we have reached the very deadly curves part, the toes of our design, which in practice actually becomes a part where it's turn after turn, 180-degree turns which are very, very narrow, so staying away from the walls is definitely impossible here. Definitely need to preserve your energy there. Even though the game gives you pit areas after every single turn, it is still easy to run out of energy there. Be careful. This is also a track where boosting definitely is not something you can do a whole lot, so the part where the ice ends and the part where the finish line actually is are pretty much the only parts where you can boost in a responsible way. Hopefully the future players don't get ahead of you too far on the higher difficulties. Here on Novice you don't really have to fear them yet. can see, whenever driving around at normal speeds, it's still easy enough to actually match them. But whenever going on higher difficulties, you can imagine the computer players being a lot more challenging. And this is not a track where you can easily gain up on them. Because the best way to try to keep up with the computer players is of course boosting. And that is something that can scarcely happen on a track like this. Make sure you have your balance correct in this track. Try to boost wherever you can, usually in the pit areas, because there of course it won't waste any of your energy. Making it somewhat of a reliable strategy. But long story short, this is just a very challenging track to actually keep your speed up. That is quite obvious. But with that we have covered the final track in this game. However, not the final machine and not the final difficulty of this game. So we're definitely not done with this game yet. But it is where the new content when it comes to the tracks will end. We just need to start playing it on higher difficulties next. Now, this was the final cup in the game. The final add-on cup in the game, in the expansion kit. Whenever playing the normal game, of course, this is not the thing. But I'm obviously not just playing normal game here. The expansion kit also gets covered. And this has been the DD-2 cup. Second new cup in the game. Very challenging, yet awesome tracks over here. Port Town 4 actually being the only one I don't really like in this cup. The other ones are definitely awesome. Especially Whiteland 3. My favorite track in this game. Part of the awesome DD-2 cup. Which Mrs. Arrow has been able to win. Interestingly enough, all of the machines on the podium seem to be E-body machines. And I thought these tracks were supposed to be difficult. And yet the best 3 are machines with the weakest bodies. Even on the most difficult tracks in this game, it is apparently possible. Driving around with a weak body on the most difficult tracks in this game. And still ending up victorious. Mrs. Arrow, you were awesome. But as a wife of a superhero, also being a superhero yourself, we need to wait until unlocking Super Arrow himself for later. Next time we are going to continue with Standard. We already made a beginning with that in order to unlock the Joker Cup. But next time we will actually continue with that. Showing off new machines in this game. There's plenty more we still need to cover. See you folks next time for that, and Treecks out.